Anytime you're ready.
What is wrong with your child? Can't you control him? You're a bad parent. These are many of the comments I hear day in and day out with a child that has ADHD. So, what is ADHD? ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. It's described as having an increased problem with inattentiveness, impulsivity, and overactivity. It commonly was known as ADD, but they changed it to ADHD because it didn't cover the hyperactivity, which usually goes along with having ADHD. And there are 3 different types of ADHD. Predominantly inattentive, which is mainly you have a problem with focusing, following directions, and you're easily distracted. Predominantly hyperactive is where they're mostly hyperactive, they fidget, they talk a lot, and they have a hard time sitting still, and they are most likely to have accidents and injuries, which is a problem with car accidents, driving. And combined is where you have a combination of both of those. You either have more or less, but it's a combination of the both of them.
That's pretty intense, I imagine.
So what causes ADHD? They're not really sure what causes ADHD, but they have noticed that there's different brain, there's like a chemical imbalance in the brain, and you can see here with a normal 14-year-old, you know, kind of different color there, and this right here where they have the ADHD is where they have more hyperactive tendencies, and you can see with this, it's kind of all over the place here because they're really hyperactive. And you can see from a chart here where they have a decreased activity and then they have a lot of activity. So I would say my kid, even though he's 7, he's like right here. This one anyway. There are many common myths that come with ADHD. One being that it's not a real medical disorder. You just make it up. Children with ADHD eventually outgrow their condition. Only boys have ADHD. People with ADHD are lazy, stupid, and will never amount to anything, and ADHD is a result of bad parenting.
Yeah.
And it's often misunderstood. People kind of relate it to mental retardation, which is not anything like a mental retardation. The facts are ADHD is biologically based. They've done research on it. More than 70% of those with childhood ADHD will continue to have it through their adolescence up through adulthood, which is, I believe, is about 50% end up having it in adulthood. Both boys at a 13.2% and girls at 5.6% have ADHD. Those with ADHD are above average intelligence because they have a different way of thinking. Once you get them channeled in on something, they go at it. And the famous ADHDers are Mozart, Benjamin Franklin, and Abraham Lincoln.
Question: how do they know that? Like about?
I don't know.
Because
I guess they kind of looked back and they had tendencies. So.
Okay, because I was curious. It didn't come around till.
I know. I thought that was kind of weird too. So, and that leads me to treatments. There are a lot of medications, although some people think that ADHD can be cured with medication. Trust me, it cannot. Balanced diet to avoid sugars, definitely Mountain Dew, and absolutely no power drinks, period. But caffeine is good. You would think that caffeine would be bad and make them hyper, but caffeine actually acts as a stimulant, so it has no effect on them, whereas us, we'd kind of be hyped up, but with them, it just kind of, it levels it out for them. Exercise lets off a lot of endorphins and dopamine, which kind of again, acts as a stimulant and brings them back down. And there are therapy and treatment programs. There's behavior modification, where they teach the child and the parent different behaviors through positive parenting and charting the bad behavior and rewards. And there's treatment programs, because if left untreated, ADHD can lead to drug use. And then you get the people that use drugs to kind of self-medicate themselves, and then you end up getting people that get hooked on drugs, and it's not a good idea. That's the end. Thank you for listening. Is there any questions?
Well done. Little golf clap.